Hello YouTube, welcome to Greg Plays Games, or welcome back to revisiting viewers to the channel. Today we are back in Animal Crossing, working on our museum district. We had previously decided to postpone any of our work on this section of the island, mainly because I wanted to wait and see what we heard at E3. There were rumors and data mines about how Brewster was going to go into the game, and there was definitely heavy speculation that there might be a either museum cafe or a completely external museum building. So I just went ahead and waited just to see if we did get an extra building. I didn't really anticipate it, but turns out we got no new news on the game as of now, which was definitely disappointing at E3, but in retrospect, maybe it just wasn't the appropriate time to showcase a pre-existing game. E3 is kind of the time to introduce new unreleased games, and yeah, I guess Animal Crossing just didn't fit that. I'm definitely disappointed. I think they should have showed something. I think they should have came with something significant for Animal Crossing, especially since it's their #1 selling game, behind Mario Kart 8, which is technically a Wii U game. So, in my opinion, Animal Crossing is really the best selling Switch original title. But yeah, we'll just have to hold on hope to see if we hear any new information about the game. As of now, there has been nothing. But so as you can see with the museum area, we wanted to retain some of the qualities of the other section of our island with our street pathing and our sidewalking. And I wanted to implement some of the design ideas I had in my previous museum build, with using that cobbled stone pathing and some of the items like the fossils, like the T-Rex fossil and saber-toothed tiger fossil. Those were used in my previous museum build, which you can find in previous videos. I'll try and find something too. I'm also going to include my most up-to-date dream address, so if you feel so inclined, you can explore my island and see some of the progress, and definitely see how it's not perfect. It's kind of broken up into these large chunks, and something that I want to work on is those little transition areas. Like towards the end of this build, you can see that I don't really go too far back with the pathing, and I kind of wanted it blocked and sectioned off so there was a distinct city and rural section, but it isn't necessarily turning out the way I wanted it to or necessarily envisioned. So I think there is still some work to be done, but I just have not really felt motivated to be playing this game recently. I just really wanted to have something new added to the game, and the designing is not necessarily my favorite part of the game. You know, that's something new that they added to this iteration of the game, and I think it was a great addition to the game, but it's not what made me like the game in the first place. So there is some disappointment in that aspect of things. I'd be curious to hear what other Animal Crossing fans think about that, and how this game has really changed into to a designing game when it really never was that to begin with. And I guess it feels like a natural progression, but that's kind of easy to say in hindsight when this is the game we got. Who knows what other directions they could have taken the game into. Actually, I was kind of thinking about it, like how why don't they have like a shoe store in the game, or more of these stores or like these shopping districts that they had in previous games. I don't know if it's something that they would include. If they were going to include it, I would have thought they would have done it by this point, while they still have a lot of focus on the game, and they can engage and simulate that fan base. Maybe they'll come out with a big update to try and sell more copies of the game down the line. I don't know. It's hard to say where they're taking this game, or if they're even going to take it anywhere, or if this is kind of the final game. I kind of feel like we were sold this game under the impression that we would see extended content and Nintendo would extend the life of this game through updates, sort of like Pocket Camp, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, the phone game, where, I mean, that game has better updates than this game. I actually haven't really played it a ton, so I don't know, maybe that's the Animal Crossing game I should be playing. We did hit a huge milestone on the channel. We hit 50 subs. Thank you everyone who's been watching the videos and subscribing and liking and commenting. We've seen some awesome growth with the channel over the past month or two, and I'm super excited. Next goal, hopefully we can hit 100 subscribers. That would be awesome, and then just keep growing from there. Which leads me to my next topic. I kind of want to talk about the future of the channel. It started off with making a lot of Animal Crossing content, just because that's, you know, I was excited about the game, just like a lot of other people, but as I kind of lose excitement in this game, it's hard to keep playing, and I'm definitely finally kind of reaching my point of fatigue. This museum build might be the last one for some time. I may have mentioned that already, unless we see something significant from the game. But I do think I'm going to continue with some of the top 10s. We saw really strong feedback on the Nintendo Switch top 10 games video, and that was super exciting. So I'm going to try and do some more top 10 style videos. It also is a bit of a callback to the fantasy football YouTube channel that I made with one of my friends, and we saw some pretty good engagement on that with our top 10 videos, or our rankings videos. So I think I'm going to continue with some of that. I'd love to hear some of your top 10 ideas. I definitely want to get a top 10 indie game video, but that will be much further and a little more spaced out from the top 5 I did. I just haven't had a chance to play a ton of those. A ton of the indie games that I've heard recommended, and I definitely want to make sure that I get a good scope of games before I rank that many. So I kind of stuck with the ones that I really appreciated, and I didn't want to just kind of throw some of the lesser games that I played in there when I didn't think they necessarily deserved to be in there. So I'm definitely thinking top 10s and game reviews. I have some game reviews in mind, and I'm super excited to kind of get those. I'm working on a script for a game. I kind of like the idea of having these discussion gameplay style videos and also those structured videos, a nice kind of range. But I'm thinking that I'm also going to start playing some of the PlayStation games that I like to play. I think there might be some Red Dead Redemption and Rocket League content coming on the way. Let me know what you guys think about that. Whether you like it or not, they're probably coming. Appreciate feedback nonetheless, though. So definitely leave a comment what you think about some of those ideas. So that's just a little channel update and what hopefully should be coming soon. But back to the build. Now I'm starting to work on the little museum cafe, outdoor cafe. Since we're not getting one in the game, I decided to just go ahead and do it myself. Even if we did get one in the game, I was still going to include it outside the cafe. Well, unless we got an actual building, of course. But one of my favorite little sections on my previous island build was a little coffee stall section right along this river. Just beautiful scenery. I mean, come on. So I wanted to include that back in here, but have it be more kind of tied to the museum. So I included those coffee stalls there, and then the seating and everything, and then kind of added those up top too, so that it kind of seemed like a business or like a part of the museum. I don't know if that comes through, but I don't know. As close as I could get to it. I also am a huge fan of that little fish item. I ended up throwing a ton of those around the island just because I had ordered so many and they look really cool. So I threw those all around the island as well. Right here you can see me start to kind of mess around with how I want this section to be laid out. I ended up doing a good bit of trial and error. I was trying to find a way to implement my fountain in this area because I love the fountain item. I think it looks really good, and I love how when the hour turns it shoots up. Just a nice little small detail that the game has. But yeah, I just didn't love it how the you can't get pathing to be like diagonal, like, and so especially when you have pathing on those diagonal bridges, it just looks really shitty. So I just didn't want to implement that there, mainly because of that, and it just also looks like too much. I also really dislike that you can't hear, like, or like the steps are muffled on custom pathing. So I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't want that large of a chunk of the island pathed with the sidewalk, and it breaks my heart that you can't, like on these ones, like these 2 wide paths, and all the cobblestone down the middle. I just want to be able to hear my feet on the cobblestone so bad. But minor inconvenience. It's not about function. It's about it's about looking cool, and the pathing looks good, which is the most important thing. So we just went ahead and bit the trigger. That's today's video. Kind of an anticlimactic ending, I suppose, but definitely feel free to check out the museum district for yourself by looking at the dream address. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you haven't. Leave me a comment, just what you think about the state of Animal Crossing and what you hope to see in the future. Keep it sleazy.